Dave Birkett of the Detroit Free Press joins us here after a Lions win that Dave ultimately looked like a game that could have gone either way late in the fourth quarter, which wasn't the story when it was 24-3, another blown lead. But here the Lions are 4-5, capping this one off with a Matt Prater field goal.
Look, I think there are some good things that happened today. Obviously, DeAndre Swift in his first career start had his best game as a Lion. You know, Matthew Stafford played well, and give the Lions credit for winning in the end. I mean, that was a game that, you know, we've seen them lose a handful of times this year, and even though it shouldn't have come down to the end like that, you know, they got it done at the end. So to be 4-5, to start the second half of the season off right, that's a good thing for the Lions, though I still have a lot of questions about this team.
Oh, certainly. And when they're at the record of 4-5, they're at that mark where the Fords said meaningful games in December. And Dave, for pessimistic Lions fans out there that look at this and go, oh my gosh, they're 4-5. It's going to be just close enough. We're looking and they're right on the outside. This regime's coming back next year. Is that fair to say?
No, I don't think so at all. I think Matt Patricia was maybe a touchdown instead of a field goal by Washington there, or away from getting fired. I mean, I don't know if it would have happened today. I don't know if it would have happened Monday, but I think it certainly could have had they blown another double-digit lead. And look, you mentioned playing meaningful games in December, right? That was Martha Ford's, you know, sort of her edict. But if you go back to what Sheila Ford Hamp said in June when she took over, she said she wanted to see significant improvement from this team. I don't know how you say this team has significantly improved from last year, maybe record-wise, but they didn't bring this regime back because they thought it was a 3-win team. They thought it was an 8-win team had Matthew Stafford been healthy. That's still what they are. They're still playing games against bad teams like Washington today that they should win, and they're not winning handily enough.
Just like they did against Atlanta when we saw them doing on the road. And to your point exactly, I think when you look at this team and go, okay, what are those points of improvement? You started with DeAndre Swift and almost stopped there, Dave.
That's right.
Shelf lives for running backs in this league are not that long. We could have been having this conversation 2 years ago about Kerryon Johnson, and look where he is in the NFL right now. So I think the discouraging thing for so many of us that watch this team so closely is, what are the points of this team you can look at and say, oh my goodness, like I asked Matt Patricia this week, what do you look at and say your team's calling card is? I don't know if he has that full answer yet, honestly.
Well, that's what I keep coming back to, too, because I think you're right. DeAndre Swift played well today. Matthew Stafford in spurts has played well this year. I mean, the comeback against the Falcons was a great performance by him. But defensively, they're as bad or worse as they've been the last 2 seasons. You know, offensively, we see these large stretches where they don't do anything. I mean, even today, after they put 24 points on the board, they sort of went into this mode where they were too conservative and they didn't do anything. And so I look at some of those things and I say, where has the improvement been made? And you know, I mean, coaches say all the time, right? Look what happens on film, right? You don't look at their record when they're talking about their opponents like Washington and Jacksonville. Well, when you watch this Lions team, I don't think they've improved really since Matt Patricia's took over.
You ask questions every single week, every single day. You're on every single Zoom call. I'm on there sometimes with you, but we've covered every team in here, and obviously our plates are full covering this team because the story just does not seem to change. So as you look at this win today and you try to look at what could be next for this team, what do you envision will be the future of this? We've talked about what will happen, what they need to do. Do you think they can sneak into the playoffs this year? I know that's like wild optimism after they just beat a terrible team.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, never say never. And there are 7 games left. So, you know, I think that will ultimately tell the tale of the season. I mean, you know, 4-5, the Lions at least are in the mix. But you look at the number of teams that are ahead of them and the quality of teams that are ahead of them. And I'm not sure that, you know, I would put the Lions even close to being in the category of some of those teams. Certainly not the Packers, who are atop the NFC North, and certainly not, you know, some of the other elite teams in this conference. So can they make it? You know, of course they can make it, and especially when you look at Carolina, a bad team up next, and Houston, a not very good team up the week after that. So they have some winnable games left on their schedule. I just don't have much faith in this team based on what we've seen this year.
And, you know, I hear what you're saying, and I feel the same way. If they make it, great. What does that even mean? Because they're not going to win the Super Bowl. I think we all can see that very clearly. It's tough with this team. You can't really look game by game and try to break down what just happened as much as Matt Patricia would want to say, here's what happened the second and third. You look big picture with the regime that's been here for a while. Dave Birkett of the Detroit Free Press breaks it down every single day in the paper. You can follow him online. Check out the Free Press's website. Subscribe for our good friend that's working hard here, and check him out on Twitter as well. Dave, thanks so much, man.
You got it, Brad. Anytime.